The K-Jazz Show, Sundays on Kofifi FM 97.2.
The cover story features explores the life and times of our favorite artists, and we also get an opportunity to listen closer to their music, and every now and then we even get to chat to them. Our featured artist this Sunday is born and raised in Havana, Cuba, and his passion for music burned brightly despite the numerous challenges, restrictions in his home country, and the naysayers would otherwise discourage one. However, Alfredo Rodríguez was undeterred, and his love for the piano persisted. And since then, Alfredo has graced numerous stages all over the world, earning Grammy nominations along the way, including performing on NPR's Music's Tiny Desk concert series, a true statement, to his determination and resourcefulness. Kofifi FM, please help me welcome back to South Africa pianist, composer, and band leader Alfredo Rodríguez. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. And I'm very happy to be talking to you and your audience in South Africa, which is a country that I love so much.
Oh, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. Let's begin, because we've got a lot of people who've been following the music of Alfredo and some quite younger. So let's start in the younger days of you growing up in, Havana, Cuba, a place that, we see here as the Mecca of Latin music. Please do tell us about those days and how they inspired your love for the piano.
Well, I grew up in a very musical family. My dad is a singer, and then I grew up listening to his music, going to rehearsals, and I remember always being on the side of the drummer. I wanted to be a drummer at first, not a pianist. So then my parents brought me to the Classical School of Music in Havana when I was 6 years old. But I had to choose between piano or violin because in order to be a drummer, I had to be 10 years old. That's the way that we do it in Cuba. So then I say to my parents, well, I just want to go with the piano, having in mind that I will change when I am 10. But long story short, when I was 10 years old, I was, completely in love with the sound of the piano. I didn't want to change anymore to drums. And now I'm very happy about the decision because, to be honest, the piano has endless possibilities. It's a beautiful instrument that it can really be transformed into anything we have in our minds. So I'm just very happy to be, a pianist and also obviously a musician. And that was the early life of how I started, playing the piano and into music.
With the challenges, I think, that you faced in the early days, like practicing the scales on the dinner table, which I thought that was quite incredible, a very interesting story. What kept you determined? What kept you going in those days?
Well, first of all, the love of music. I think, sometimes we don't have the money or the tools. To get a piano in Cuba, it wasn't something that easy. So it was a little difficult. At the beginning, I didn't have the possibility to have a piano in my house. So I had to find ways to practice. And that was one of the only ways that I found, to be honest, just paint the piano in a table and just practice like that. Again, it's sometimes we have to be creative. I'm not saying that that's a good way to do it because that's definitely not a good way to practice an instrument. But that was what my little child mind found, that I could do something in order to practice. And later, my parents brought a piano for me after the second year of school, and then I had my piano.
let's move on to this part. You've performed in South Africa before, in Cape Town and in Johannesburg, and you've also been, to the North African country of Morocco. Let's talk about that experience for you. How was that like?
Well, first of all, I want to say something. I come from a country which we have so much influence from Africa. We have like the Yoruba culture in Cuba is so strong. We have we have had through the years a big transculturation, obviously, mostly from countries like Nigeria, Cameroon, Benin. But again, Africa is in our blood. Our blood, the music that we play is like a mix between many things, and obviously has the African influence so strong in our music. So then for me, coming to Africa is always like very excited, to be honest. That's something that I will actually really like to explore more and more, and go there and keep exploring, keep collaborating with artists from Africa as well, and just keep incorporating all of those beautiful melodies, beautiful sounds into my work. That's something that really makes me excited. And to be honest, the Cape Town Jazz Festival, which I've been there, I think twice, is an amazing festival in the whole world. It was a beautiful experience for me, and I just can't wait to go back in the near future, I hope, and to play my new projects. And that would be amazing.
Speaking of Cape Town, I was introduced to your work through your 2018 project, The Little Dream, right?
Okay.
One of my favorite takes on a classic is Besame Mucho on that release. I want us to, talk about the tracks Dawn and Vamos Todos a Canta. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly now.
Yes, you did.
Which have a Cape jazz feel to them. Before we head to the music break, let's talk about these compositions real quickly.
Well, I mean, as I said before, I've been very influenced by African music, and I've been listening to African music my whole life. Usually traditional music, usually the folklore, the sacred music. I listen to a lot. I'm sure a lot of the elements are going to be featured in my music. I remember actually, I play with two other musicians. I mean, the trio, it was Michael Oliveira, which has been my bandmate since we were kids. We've been playing for more than 20 years together. And the other musician is from Brazil, Munir Hosson, but he has a lot of influence also from African music. He's been playing with many African musicians. And the three of us together, I mean, it's a mix, like a Cuban, Brazilian, African, Caribbean, jazz, pop, whatever explosion of many things. So right. There are always many elements of Africa in my music, and it will be like that forever, because this is my blood, this is who I am, it's my heritage. So definitely the Little Dream has a lot of like influence from your continent. So yeah.
The K Jazz Show, Sundays on Kofifi FM 97.2.
An incredible dream. I love that project, of course, very well tailored. Sorry if I may add so myself. But we are chatting to Alfredo Rodríguez this Sunday, of course. He's our cover story. From the album, The Little Dream, we've just listened to Dawn by Alfredo Rodríguez on the K-Jazz Show, a world-class Latin artist who's in fact worked with a world-famous composer and maestro, Quincy Jones. And that was in 2009. Tell us about that experience, Alfredo, beginning with how you got to meet Quincy in the first place.
Well, actually, I was in Cuba. A convocatory came to many Cubans. Yeah, everyone could apply to play at the prestigious Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. It's one of the biggest jazz festivals and the legendary producer Quincy Jones was there. And then we had all of us the opportunity to play for Quincy. It was incredible. And when I finished my performance, Quincy came to me and he said, Alfredo, wow, that was amazing. I want to help you in some way with your career, with your life, your music. He didn't know that I was a Cuban living in Cuba. Because he tells me that now, later he told me so many years, oh, I thought you were a Cuban living outside, maybe like in Miami or something like that. He didn't know I was a Cuban living in Cuba, and obviously knowing the political relationship between Cuba and the States, which has been broken for so many years, and it's very difficult to do a deal, to do anything. It was like that. It actually took me 3 years to make the hard decision of leaving my family physically away. I always say physically because spiritually I always has been with them, but physically we had to set apart. We had to be far away from each other for a long time. And then I crossed the border. I crossed the border 3 years after that. It took me 3 years to make the decision. And I crossed the border from Mexico to the United States to start, living my new life with the legendary producer Quincy Jones. And very lucky for me, now after almost 15 years living in the United States, I can say that Quincy has been my mentor for 15 years, the producer of my 6 albums. And I mean, it has been like a beautiful journey of learning for me, because Quincy, as we all know, is one of the biggest musicians of all time. Not only a producer, also like a composer, arranger. I mean, it's someone in the music industry. They have been changing music industry for so many times. That's what I always say. They have been living. Quincy has been living for so many years, and he has been living any new period. Like music changes, and then Quincy is still there. So. And apporting a lot, through new generations, and like it can be, you name it. Quincy, is incredible. So I'm just very fortunate, to be honest with you. I'm very fortunate that I'm a young musician, and I will be able to say forever that I work with Quincy Jones for so many years.
Quincy is timeless. I think that's the word you're looking for. He's timeless.
Exactly.
That collaboration, Alfredo, earned you a Grammy nomination and had many followers of music exclaiming and almost comparing you, to the crispness of the young Bill Evans. I've heard the melodic inventiveness of Keith Jarrett and the audacity and playfulness of Joey Zawinul. Of course, a touch of Thelonious Monk fused with your Cuban heritage. How have these artists, all of that influenced your music?
I mean, I always say that I play what I live. So, I mean, anything that I am living at the moment is going to be part of my music when I go on the stage, when I record a new album. So I've been, I said that because obviously playing with people like Herbie Hancock or Chick Corea, or doing a collaboration with Quincy or with Esperanza Spalding, and all of these people that I've been very honored to work with, they have been influenced my music so much. Obviously, this is like a life situation. It's not only about the music. It's about the experience, about learning, about listening, and about sharing as well. Sharing where I come from. I've been humble and honored to share the stage with so many people. So again, I think it's a beautiful process that we need to try. At least that's what the way I do it, because I always feel that collaborating with so many artists from all over brings life to my music, brings so many diversity. It brings many positive things that I want to keep doing in that way. I keep collaborating and keep, learning basically. It's one of the most important things for me. So, they have definitely influenced myself. Not only the musicians that I've been playing with, also my family, which a lot of people in my family, they don't know much about music, but they have been my educators. And I think that's very important equally, because as I said before, I play what I live. And what I live is not only music. I live many things during the day that influence my personality, and equally then influence my music.
Jazz, Kofifi Jazz on 97.2.
course, Coffee FM. Spending time with the cover story artist for this Sunday. Of course, his name is Alfredo Rodríguez, a Cuban pianist, jazz pianist at that. And we are celebrating his music and listening closer to that sound. And of course, getting to know him a little bit better here on the K Jazz Show. So, Alfredo, it's 2023, and you have a new project out. Coral Way, your sixth studio project, which comes, as a follow-up from 2019's duologue with Cuban conguero Bertrito Martinez. What's different about this project this time?
Well, I mean, the first big difference is that the last project that I did was only a duo. It was, Pedrito is one of the best percussionists and singer, dancer that I know in my life.
Yeah.
And that's a project that I love so much. And we will keep doing more of that. But then this time I went a little more adventurous when it comes to bringing musicians. This is like a 9-piece band and we have guests. It's the first time that I compose for a large band. And the sound, I influenced by a move that I did. I moved from Los Angeles to Miami. My family always has been in Miami since I went to United States. Then a couple of years after that, 3 years, 4 years after that, my family came also to the States and they are based in Miami. So I was in Los Angeles, very far away from them. I decided to move to Miami also because I became a dad. I have a daughter of 4 years old, and I wanted my daughter also to be close to the grandparents. So then while I did that, COVID came to the world. As we all know, COVID was something very drastic that we could not even come outside home. We had to be isolated for such a long time. For me, it was the first time that I was 1 year and 6 months not being on the stage.
Sure.
And then I found myself walking the streets of Miami alone. Coral Way is actually the name of the street where I live.
No.
And then, yes, Coral Way is the name. Yeah, is the name of the street where I live in Miami. So then that's what I decided to name the album Coral Way, is because it was the street that I was walking alone for almost 2 years, not playing, but thinking about all of this music and composing the music in my head. And then on my iPhone, I remember making a lot of voice memos with rhythms, melodies. And I was basically, composing the music while walking the Coral Way street. And then that's why the album is called Coral Way. It's like a celebration. Incredible. Because I was thinking about the moment that we could, right now, for example, that we could share again love with each other. We could embrace culture again. We could, hug each other through music, and also not virtually anymore. And we can, now I am playing a lot. I've been playing nonstop after that. And I'm very happy to put Coral Way out because it was a very different, diverse chapter of my life, and I wanted to have it out. Now it's out. Now moving forward, we keep playing and keep recording new music next year.
I'm very interested. Of course, I've been listening to the album before you and I had this conversation. I've been listening off air, and I have to say, Coral Way is a very groovy project. It channels influences of Latin pop, timba, salsa, bachata, tango, reggaeton, bolero, and so many other elements that come together there. Let's talk about the creative process. Must have been one interesting one with all these influences. Coming at you as a creative, and how do you channel them into one project?
Well, as I said before, then I started composing everything alone, walking the streets of Miami, walking Coral Way. And then I wanted to do a project that it was like a celebration of my move to Miami, what Miami sounds for me. And I feel, I always say this, Miami for me is in a way, the capital of Latin America. We have many countries represented in Miami. We have we obviously have the biggest Cuban community outside of Cuba in Miami. We have so many Venezuelan, Brazilian, Argentinian, Bolivia, Spanish, it's a very extremely multicultural city when it comes to Latin America. So I call it the capital of Latin America because a lot of people want to go there. A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs. A lot of people want to go there and invest their time, new life. They want to go there. So, and I wanted to create a sound that, people can also feel connected to a different sound than what Miami is. Because usually when you think about Miami, you will think about Latin pop music or reggaeton only, like it's straight like that, because it's the mainstream music right now when it comes to Latinos. But I also have a sound what Miami sounds for me. So I wanted to kind of like be in the middle of the both worlds. I always have been in the jazz and world music world. And then I am a Latino also. I've been listening to reggaeton and timba and salsa, bachata all my life. And that's something that I like also. So I wanted to be like kind of like a crossover situation, like in the middle of those both worlds, that people from my side, they could listen to the music, and the other people from the other side, they can dance also to music that can be listenable and a little more thoughtful. So, that was kind of my goal with Cutaway, and we are in that way.
I love this conversation. I think very enlightening. And I want to go here with me, Alfredo. The importance of preserving culture. We've spoken a lot about the different, elements that come together in the project: reggaeton, bachata, salsa, which is very indigenous to Miami, and of course representative of the cultures there. Mm-hmm. How or why do you think, in your opinion, it's important to preserve our cultures, using the sound and using it as almost like a time capsule to preserve for our future, What is the importance of that, or how important is it to you?
Well, music, of course, is one of the main resources, one of the main ways that we can connect with people. So what I'm saying is, like, for new generation, for the kids, for my daughter, for my, my family, the kids that are surrounding her, I feel that we have a purpose here, like a mission, being alive. And I think one of those is definitely be educators in some ways. Even to our friends, even to our parents, we all educate each other. I learn from them and you learn from me. If your message is negative, it doesn't really make sense for me, because I feel that the beautiful thing about life is just to be good. I don't find any interesting or any cool or any attractive when someone is doing something bad. When something does something bad for humanity or for anyone, I just neglect it. I just okay, I don't want to see that. So then I know that sometimes we are living a crazy moment right now where technology also takes us in a way that you do something wrong and then it becomes viral, because everything that it is wrong sometimes is attractive for people. Even though we criticize it, we see it and we keep watching it and we give them trending. So my goal is not that one. My goal is to try to be trending with something good, and I'm trying. I feel that music is my tool, the best way that I have in order to communicate with my daughter, with some kids, with some people in new generation. And that's what I try to do. Obviously, this is a free world, and people choose whatever they want to see. People choose whatever way they want to go. And I prefer to go in the long way, but knowing that I am doing something good for society and humanity in the good way, than just taking the shortcut ways when I know it's something that is not going to be helpful and good for new generations.
Fascinating, of course. His name is Alfredo Rodríguez, and he is on the KJ show. We chat about, everything music and everything in between. He is our cover story this Sunday. Alfredo, where to from here? What's next for you?
I'm right now in Europe. I've been, to be honest with you, I've been playing since, this is like a never ending tour. I don't, again, I have to be honest. I know that I will finish and then I will have time with my daughter, with my family, quiet time for me that I needed so much. Next year we'll go again. Even starting in January. But this year has been crazy. The second part of the year, I haven't even stopped, because also we released Got Away. And then since the releasing, we've been playing everywhere. We did a 20-show tour in US. We went to Brazil and we played there. We went to, Europe the whole July and August. And now I am in Europe again. I'm going to be here the whole month of November. I'm coming back to the States to play some shows there. I'm going to India. I was about to go to Israel. Obviously, I didn't go because the situation in Israel right now. But I am going to India in 1 week. I'm in Europe. I'm right now in Europe. I just finished 11 shows in a row. And today has been my second day of not doing anything. And then tomorrow I wake up at 4 a.m. again. I'm going to Serbia. So we are playing tomorrow in Serbia.
Extremely busy, of course, and busy is great. It means that you're covering a lot of ground, and of course you're sharing with the world the brand new project, which is Coral Way. Of course, may I ask, on behalf of the African continent, when are you coming down here again?
Oh my gosh, I don't even have words to describe how much excited I am to go back to Africa. Every time that someone tells me that I'm going to Africa, I get so excited. You cannot imagine. It's because the culture, because I feel home. I feel very close to my culture, my people. And that's something that I will keep exploring. And to be honest, I just really appreciate the invitation when they told me that it was, a radio, a promotion in South Africa. I say, yes, I want to do it. I want to do anything that is, related to, connecting with more audience, connecting with my people in Africa. To be honest with you, I get so many messages on my social media from African countries. Many people, many great musicians and fans and everything. I know it's a little difficult because obviously infrastructure, when it comes to business, is not the same in Africa as well as United States or even Europe. And being honest with you, is the same with my in Latin America. Even though it's my strongest, audience following, I don't play as much there. I play more in United States or Europe because the reasons that we all know is where the business is more. But that being said, I want to change that, to be honest. I want to change that, and I want to be able to share my music and to share my life with so many people in all over. And obviously Africa is one of my priorities.
Absolutely. And this is from your lips to the universe. And of course, when we gather and we speak on it, as more or as one or more, in fact, it shall come to pass if we only just believe. And I think you will be here again one of these days.
And I will see you there.
CrossFit. Absolutely. I will be right in the front. I'll be the one with the microphone.
I love it.
Trying to get the next scoop. But all the best, Rodriguez. And I want to say, really on this wonderful Sunday, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you. Much love to you. Much love to your audience. Keep doing the beautiful work.
I appreciate it. And of course, thank you and all the best with the tour. And we'll see you on the other side. Of course, that's when you are on our stages here, and we celebrate your music even more with a wonderful audience who are only just waiting to see you again.
I can't wait to see all of you again. Thank you.
Absolutely. He is a jazz pianist, band leader, Alfredo Rodríguez, and he was our cover story here on the K-Jazz Show.